There have been many iterations of the Cinderella story down through the centuries. Multiple cultures have had some form of the Cinderella story. One common theme that runs through the story is a shoe. Now, everything I say today has to do with the Grimm's brothers version of the Cinderella story. It was written in 1800, and it is very different from the story that we know now from Cinderella, the one that Disney did. Now, I'm not going to tell you every aspect of her story that is different, because that's in the book, The Shoe Fits. I'm also creating a webinar for The Shoe Fits, so I'm going to mostly center on the shoe today. Recently, Oprah aired a show of women talking about their traumas and how the traumas affected them. And a couple of times my heart went out to a couple of them. Kim Whitley was in it, and I really was feeling her in that. I will put a link to that show in the notes below. But there was also a woman who was a doctor who had come up with a mother who had mental health issues. In fact, let me let you listen to that clip right now, and I'll be back.
You know, I did not think that when I became a pediatrician, I had no intention of going into trauma. I mean, I did the psychiatry rotation as a medical student, and I was like, no gracias. That is something else. But when I started my medical practice in a very underserved neighborhood of San Francisco, I had two patients that I was seeing one day, and I went in to see them. It was a 3-year-old and a 4-year-old. And I looked at their chart, and it said that their mom had driven with the two kids in the back of the car with no seatbelts on into a building.
Oh my God.
And it said that their mom suffered from paranoid schizophrenia. And I didn't have to ask. I didn't have to wonder what that must have been like. Because I grew up with it. My mom, for many years, her mental health disorder was untreated. And as a result, we experienced a lot of suffering. It was as a doctor, as a pediatrician, when I read the research about ACEs, about adverse childhood experiences, everything, it just clicked. And to the point that Oprah made around how our own experiences allow us to have the empathy. And that empathy for me, combined with my research background, my scientific training, and I think anybody who has suffered knows how it gives you a drive to say, if I can do something with my life, I will keep others from suffering in the same way. And wow. And that was it for me. That was it for me. Then anything that I read, any piece of science, any piece of research about how exposure to trauma in childhood affects the way our DNA is methylated, the way that affects our hormones, our cortisol, whatever, everything, I just consumed it. Because that information was my ammunition. When we know how it works, how it happens, then we can use that to heal. One of the interesting things that I experienced was, because of that unpredictability, my radar for reading people, like micro changes in mood, was a matter of safety, right? It was really important. But what was interesting about it was when I became a physician, I could read my patients, right?
You
I could
turned
say,
your
wait,
pain
there's something else going on here. There's something that and that is what probed me to ask deeper questions.
Yeah.
It's what probed me, and that is, so this is, it's a weird way, the way that sometimes the worst things that happen to us become our superpowers, because it made me a very, very good doctor, right? And then to take that now, and I feel like I'm in much the same position as what Oprah mentioned. For me, I would never want to live it again, but I wouldn't wish it away either.
Did you hear what she said? As much pain as she was in, as much as she suffered not understanding what the heck was going on, as much as that affected her into her adult life, did you hear what she said? She said it made her a better pediatrician. It gave her insight into things and a way to sense something when she provided services to her juvenile clients. That's her superpower. Not every pediatrician out there even cares to know what the heck is going on behind the scenes. It's just like they say, it's always what's wrong with you instead of what happened to you. But how did that relate to Cinderella? That's what we're going to talk about now. So that relates to Cinderella because I'm just going to ask you a couple questions. Did you ever wonder why Cinderella was the only person that could fit that shoe? Now, I believe in the current version, it says that the shoe was made of glass, but in the Grimm's brother version, the shoe was made of gold. Now, how unpliable is that? Can you imagine a shoe of gold, solid gold? But even at that, when you think about it, how many women in the United States can wear a size 11, a size 10, 8, a 9? How many women can wear that same size shoe? But that was not the case with Cinderella. No matter what iteration, how many centuries you go back, it doesn't matter what culture you go in, she was the only person that could fit that shoe. Now, why was that? Well, in the real Cinderella story, the one by the Grimm's brothers in 1800s, they forced Cinderella to wear wooden shoes. They stripped her of her clothes. They stripped her of everything, her dignity. They even stripped her of her name to the point that nobody ever wrote what her real name is. They named her Cinderella. Cinderella. The girl that laid in the cinders. Okay? But the wooden shoes are the key. How painful must that have been? If you're in a wooden shoe, your feet will not grow any further than the size of that wooden shoe. If you look back in Chinese culture, they've discontinued that now, but it was something they did called foot binding, where they would bind up the foot to make it as small as possible. It caused bones to grow wrong, but they could fit into this small shoe because society said that that small foot was beautiful. It deformed that person, but it was beautiful. So if you put your foot in a wooden shoe, your foot is not going to grow any further than that. Now follow me here. If the golden shoe was made to fit her foot, she would have been the only grown woman in the entire kingdom with that size foot. Now, there might have been a kid with that size foot, whatever, but they were looking for a grown woman. And that's why that golden slipper would only fit Cinderella. Now, in the book, The Shoe Fits, then I talk about the multiple different ways that there are hidden Easter eggs, hidden secrets for trauma survivors to be encouraged and to embrace what they went through in order to make purpose out of it. But if Cinderella had never been forced to wear that shoe, now she endured a lot of trauma we'll talk about in the book, in the webinar, but with respect to that shoe, that had to hurt. Along with being treated like crap, being stripped of your clothes in the real version. I'm talking about in the Grimm brothers version. Stripped of your clothes and stripped of your dignity for who knows how long. Okay? But her pain was her freedom. Her pain is what got her out of that mess. No matter how they tried to keep her from going to that ball, and in the Grimm brothers version, she went to the ball 3 times in a row, and she ran from it 3 times in a row. Okay? But when the prince saw her the first time, he saw her destiny slapping him in the face because he knew that was his woman. He, in the Grimm brothers version, he didn't want to dance with anybody. He didn't dance with anybody. This is my partner, he said. He saw the destiny she kept running from. But all of the pain she went through and the way she was forced to wear that uncomfortable shoe that may have caused her to be deformed in the feet or whatever, that pain, that hardship, that trauma was exactly what caused her to be found by the prince and to move into the palace. Had she not gone through that, anybody could fit her shoe. Okay? So just like the pediatrician that we just heard, her life became better by way of her pain. Okay? So when we stuff, you have to read whose apple is it anyway to understand how I stuffed and did the goofy and was stuck on stupid. But when we stuff and get over our pain, then we fail to embrace the healing process that gives us that superpower that only we can bring to the table. The reason that's important, because if you don't tell your story, then there are multiple people for whom you are a divine connection that have to go without. But when we keep comparing ourselves to others, keep thinking, oh, I want to be like her, and then we try to be like them. Oh, I want to do this, and then we try to do that, and it fails because that ain't our calling. You know, our so-called cosmic pay grade, so to speak. Then we're wasting time that's so important to us, embracing that we survived, moving through the healing process so that we can thrive, and having that one power that only we have, okay, that can help the others that we're a divine connection for in the master plan. Unless somebody hears your story, they may think they're out there all alone, and they may continue to feel hopeless. But if they can hear your story from the vantage point of healing, where you can stand in the truth of the pain and speak with your voice what you went through, that not only empowers you, that empowers others. And the more you focus on empowering others through your story, the more others can get free. Why? Because they are the ones that are assigned to you in the master plan. They are the ones for whom you are a divine connection in one way or another. Okay? Now, I'm not belittling the pain. There's some of you that have been through stuff I've never been through, and you've been through it at even younger ages than I've been through it. My heart goes out to you. My heart goes out to all of you who have suffered unspeakable trauma when you were too young to even know how to process it. At the same time, I want to encourage you that that can be your golden shoe. That can be the one thing that makes you stand out from the crowd as regards to people for whom you are a divine connection to healing and power and grace and love of themselves. Okay? I want you to read The Shoe Fits. It's a very short ebook right now. I am working on extending that to a hardback, but I need your stories. If you want to speak to me anonymously about what you went through and how that's empowered you in your current life, then you can do it anonymously, however you want me to do that. But I'm looking for your stories because I want to highlight them in The Shoe Fits when the full version comes out. You can get a whole lot out of the current ebook version, but I want to go deeper in the hardback. So just be encouraged that your pain will inform your purpose. And I'm not talking about, I shouldn't use the word superpower here. What I want to call it is your supernatural power. Your supernatural power, because we all have a superpower. We come here with everything we need to accomplish our purpose in the earth, but then life gets hold of us and twists us completely out of that person we came here as. And as long as we stay twisted out of who we truly are, then we can never be as powerful as we need to be. You can be good at what you do. You can get accolades for what you do. I mean, I've accomplished some things in life, and I'm telling you, everything I ever accomplished was accomplished in the middle of personal chaos. Okay, so you can still be in your superpower and accomplish things because you have the natural skills and abilities to do that. But your supernatural power comes when you connect all that with the pain in order to empower it and make it supernatural to help the people that need you. Well, that's it for today. I want you to always remember that your greatest power is realized in the truth of who you are. Know that truth.